morning, Coach, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the press conference ahead of tomorrow's Leagues Cup match between DC United and Mazatlan FC. We have DC United head coach Troy Lesesne with us today to discuss the match. Y si necesitan traducción en simultáneo, está disponible directamente en Zoom. Brian, go ahead with your question in the room.
Okay, so Troy, how excited are you to play a knockout round in front of your fans at Audi Field?
Yeah, I think we said this, since we played in Atlanta, and then we had the realization that we weren't going to play the next match at home against Santos Laguna. We wanted to make sure that we progressed in the competition for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is to play in front of our fan base that deserves to see us compete against a team from Mexico and a knockout competition. So I think it's going to be very exciting. We want to try to continue to build the momentum that we did in the previous matches. And we have a tough opponent in front of us. From what we can tell from the video that we've been able to study over the last few days against this opponent, it's not going to be an easy match. But I think it's going to be an exciting one, and we're really pleased to be in front of our fans at Audi Field.
Enrique, we'll throw it to you now for Zoom.
So we have a question on Zoom from David Johnson. David, go ahead.
Troy, can you just start with a health update? And also, Boris now has been training. Might he, and he's on your Leagues Cup roster, might he factor in? And what could we possibly expect from him down the road? And also just address, if you could, how important getting a clean sheet was for this team, your team?
Yeah, I mean, starting with the health of the team, we still have a few players that are still on the way back from a couple different injuries, but they're making really good progress. So, there's possibilities for Pedro Santos. It's probably unlikely for Chris McVeigh and Christian Fletcher to be back in the team, but those three guys are all trending in the right direction, and we're looking forward to having them be back a part of the squad very soon. Boris has come into the team in just a short amount of time and shown a great level of assimilation, but also impact. I think he's been able to get right up to speed with what we want to do and then be able to do it at a very high level. So we're looking forward to seeing him be able to feature for us. He'll be a part of our squad, and he could play a part absolutely in the match tomorrow night. And then to answer your last question in terms of a clean sheet, this is something that our group celebrated probably more than anything the other night, beyond just winning the group and progressing to the knockout stage. Achieving a clean sheet, we know we need more of those in order to not only keep moving forward in Leagues Cup, but when we come back into the MLS regular season, we need that because we're scoring goals for the most part pretty consistently. We need to eliminate the opponent from being able to create a lot of chances and score goals themselves.
And if I could ask one more question, there just seems to be a real joy factor about this team. Am I reading that correctly? And what is to me impressive about that, this has not been an easy season, yet there's a joy among your group. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I mean, particularly I think that joy comes out clearly whenever you can see the performance match the result. So the performances sometimes have been one in which you want to celebrate, but you can't celebrate it fully because it's a draw or sometimes even a loss in a really good performance. The last four matches in particular, the joy comes out because the performance is right there with a great result. And this group, the cohesion that's within this group is why we're still staying together and moving in the right direction. And I think that we are far from a finished product, but we are moving towards the product that we want to be. And I'm hoping we can continue that again tomorrow night.
Other questions on Zoom? Remember to use the raise hand function if you'd like to ask one. Matthew, go ahead. Matthew, are you there? Okay, we'll go back to David.
Troy, sorry about that. What are your thoughts on Mazatlán, and what are some areas you want to focus on going into this match?
Yeah, so watching Mazatlán, the thing that stood out to me, particularly in their match against Nashville, was they're a team that is really creative and has a quick tempo whenever they have ball wins and are able to go in attacking transition. And so we want to try to limit that, obviously, as much as possible in the night, but I think there's some very good individual talent there. Whether Emeria plays against us, he's obviously a player that is familiar with an MLS opponent. They've got a number of other good players that are right there with him. If we don't control those moments in the game, whenever it's maybe a 50-50 moment and they're able to win it and get into space, then they're going to cause us problems. So that's been a lot of our focus. And we just want to try to replicate what we've done in terms of our identity the last few matches, because we feel like that's when we're in our most control and in our best way.
David, we will go back to you.
And Troy, if you could just comment on how David Schnegg has been such a part of, it's amazing to me how quickly you put him in and there he goes. It's like he's with your team all year.
Yeah, I mean, that has everything to do with David Schnegg. This is his personality. He's a guy that is extremely studious. He knows this style of play quite well, so he's been familiar with that the last couple seasons at the club he was previously at. But really, every club does things a little bit differently, and so whenever he got here, I think he was trying to onboard that information, but also establish relationships with the guys very quickly. I think he's the type of person that has that ability to connect with the group. And then lastly, in terms of how it translates to his play, his impact, I mean, he's a guy that covers more ground than anyone else on the field. He's up, he's back. Him and Aaron Herrera do a tremendous job as fullbacks to be able to be on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and really dominate those spaces. And that's what I think makes us exciting, and David has a lot to do with that now going forward.
Excellent, Coach. Thank you. Brian, any other questions on your side?
No, all good here. Enrique, thank you.
Actually, we got one more question on
Yeah,
Zoom. And,
no problem.
We'll get to that one, the last one. Dennis, go ahead.
Hey Troy, thank you for your time. I just wanted to know how has been the integration of the new players like Meg, Dominique, and Boris into the team, and how have you ensured for them to be a seamless transition?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is I give credit in the scouting process. So that's whenever I think that's where you understand what the player is about from their style of play and does it fit with our style of play. And so from Ali Mackay to Caleb Shreve to Eamon Dunleavy to Austin Yearwood now, there's so many different people that are involved, Zach Prince, my assistant coach, in determining if the player fits or not. But you also have to see if the player's personality fits as well, and we try to be really diligent about that. And so I think we've gotten it right with all three of these guys, and we've already seen the impact with David Schnegg and Dominique Badji when they featured for us. I think it's no coincidence that we win matches, get results against these last two opponents. They're making the group better. And then since Boris has come in, again, the level of competition within the group has gone up, and he absolutely fits what we do. I'm really excited for him to start to feature for the team as well in competitive matches. And I think all three of these guys are just going to make us better, and that's the ultimate goal.